what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're in a very special parking lot location for a super special reason right here. This is a 2022 Chevrolet Corvette, the mighty C8 Stingray. Ours is fully optioned with a 3LT, Z51 equipped, and it's a drop top convertible. But before we get into this bright blue sports car that is now stepping into that supercar territory, let's talk about what's going on here. The Corvette. It's been America's true sports car since 1953. There's been a lot of other competition from other brands here in the United States, especially that Dodge Viper, but none have stuck around long enough to really make that iconic legendary of the Corvette. Now, of course, we all know with model year 2020, the C8 was born, and that was the first year of the mid-engine Corvette. Fast forward to 2022, the legend continues that is being created, but also, of course, the excitement of the Z06 Corvette. Now, with this Stingray, packing naturally aspirated V8 power, yes, it's a sports car, but when you look at the performance numbers and definitely the style of it, it's looking and performing like a supercar. So what I want to do is, lots of different brands out there, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Audi with the R8, Mclaren, they've been doing mid-engine cars for a long time. I want to take one of the main competitors, the Mclaren 570S Spider, and I want to put it up against our rapid blue C8 Corvette Stingray and find out, really, are you getting more for spending more money by going the Mclaren route, or are you going to get the same amount of performance, maybe even more, but also get that attention that when you roll into a Cars and Coffee event, people drop their jaw? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our rapid blue C8 Stingray and find out. Right off the bat, the shape definitely has that supercar shape to it. Up front, you're gonna get full LED lighting. So if you thought that you had to spend $200,000 or more to get full LED lighting, you don't. You have your LED turn signals, those LED projector beam style headlights, and the style of it definitely has that aerodynamic efficiency. And plus, the great news is, from the front at least, it's really looking like a Corvette. Lower area functionality is the name of the game. Your heat exchangers are up front, just like you would find on your McLaren. But the great news is, nice wide openings. You have that carbon flash metallic. It's more than just gloss black. It's got a nice sparkle to it, looking great. How do you know that this is a Z51 equipped Corvette? If you didn't know because I told you so, it's because of the splitter. Flat black on the splitter when you go Z51 equipped. I wish they would have extended it out a little bit further and maybe also made it carbon flash metallic. That would have been a nice touch. But as we come across that front section, what I love about the Stingray compared to the McLaren is it looks like a stealth fighter design. You look at a stealth fighter jet, all of these nice hard body lines, and of course the cross flags, so iconic, going back to 1953, the checkered flag and the Chevy bow tie, so much history. On the lower side, more carbon flash metallic, and you'll notice the massive openings to bring all that cool air to cool the brakes and all of those heat exchangers. And like I said, that front splitter goes all the way across. Now, ours has something that you can't get on a McLaren. It's got the optional axle lift system. So you push a button from behind the wheel, it actually raises the front end of the Corvette so that you're not going to scrape any of those underside bits on maybe a speed bump or a parking block. But as we rise up, you can see that we have our front mounted trunk area at the front end, and the designers did a great job making it look like a Corvette. But I could see some similarities between this and maybe not so much the McLaren 570S, but the McLaren GT, which is a little bit larger, a lot of similar kind of overall shape. Now, when we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire stuff. We have the optional carbon flash metallic painted wheels. Not my favorite, and there's really not a wheel that stands out in their lineup of optional wheels, but this would probably be the one that I go with. Machined aluminum all the way around. When you go Z51 performance package, you're getting obviously the larger brakes, 6-piston Brembo calipers with the Corvette and Z51 badge, fully ventilated rotors. If you look at the rotors, this is where you compare it to a McLaren. McLaren's gonna have a larger rotor and it's gonna be cross-drilled and fully ventilated. These are fully ventilated, and they're a little over 13 inches, so not really super size. And of course, on the standard Stingray, there's no carbon metallic setup where you could get those awesome braking capability like you can on a McLaren, but the Z06 will have that. Now, tires are wrapped with, the wheels are wrapped with the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, so you're definitely gonna get nice grip and nice stick. 19-inch up front, 245 on the width, 19-inch wheels up front, 20-inch wheels out back, and this does have the optional magnetic ride suspension. All four corners. That piece of technology is worth the option price. It adjusts the suspension every single nanosecond. The McLaren has adaptive dampers, but it depends on what mode you're in. So something to think about when you're comparing the Stingray and that McLaren 570S. Now, as we continue down the side, color matched on the mirror caps with some carbon flash metallic and your turn signals built in. This one is that folding hardtop. So just like the 570S Spider, that has a folding hardtop, so does our Corvette. Now the great news is the Stingray only weighs, the convertible only weighs 100 pounds more than the coupe. So something to think about there, where you could have your drop top fun and that open air experience, but you're not adding a bunch of weight. We got the carbon flash metallic on those massive side intake openings. Air is gonna be brought in for that LT2 naturally aspirated V8 engine. I like the addition of the carbon flash metallic on the actual tonneau cover area, which when we drop the top, really gives it a great look. And it has a nice sparkle to it. Out back, you can see we got those 20-inch wheels, obviously a little bit wider at the rear to get the power to the ground. And just like I said before, you look at the brakes, you're gonna get those Brembo calipers up front, nice gloss black, and you could actually change the colors of the calipers. You could change the color caliper, you could actually get the carbon flash metallic areas painted, you could do the whole roof carbon flash metallic painted, lots of different ways to personalize your Stingray, just like you would find from McLaren or any of those other exotic brands like Ferrari or Lamborghini. Now, as we come around the back, going Z51 equipped, you're gonna get this beautiful color matched rear spoiler, nothing too crazy. There's our Stingray. So much history. The first time that the Stingray name was applied to a Corvette was 1963. It then disappeared. The last year was 1976. And then it came back again full circle for 2014 for the C7, and it's still there. You'll notice that when you go convertible, the one zonk is you can't see the engine, and you can't see it on the McLaren Spider either. So I zonked the 570S as well. Would be nice to be able to see that wonderful V8, but you do have the wire mesh finish and more of that carbon flash metallic design for the heat to escape. And then let's talk about the back. If this was a Z06, I'd be singing its praise because they did some great job, some great design fittings to make it styled a little differently. The rear end of the Stingray is not my favorite. The problem is it looks a little too boxy and blocked off. You do have LED taillights. You do have, of course, your carbon flash metallic functional vents in the back. The 570 McLaren does a better job at the tail end of the business. Quad exhaust with that GM performance exhaust. You can make it loud, you can make it quiet, and then great looking diffuser with more wire mesh, and we have electronic limited slip diff. Another thing to think about to get the power to the ground. But why don't we go ahead, let's talk about the engine and look at horsepower numbers for our C8 Corvette. All right, guys, like I was pointing out earlier, the big zonk has got to be that you can't see that glorious LT2 naturally aspirated V8. I wish they would have done something similar to the C6 ZR1. If you remember on that car, they had the plexiglass window up front on the hood where you could see the engine underneath it. That would have looked pretty killer. But you know what? It's not just about seeing it, it's about what kind of performance you get. And that's where the new Corvette, the C8, steps in that supercar territory. So underneath all that Rapid Blue is going to be that 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8. It's got a tad more horsepower because we have the Z51 equipped engine. You're looking at 495 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to that slick shifting, fast shifting, 8-speed DCT Tremec. And then when you look at supercar performance, like I was saying, this is what you're gonna get. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 11.2 seconds. You can hear that roar when it fires off. Top speed over 190 miles an hour. MPGs, 16 in the city, 24 on the highway. And that's what's really gonna separate it from the McLaren, is that V8 rumble. Yes, you have a V8 in the McLaren, smaller displacement with the twin turbos, but with this, having that real pure rumble. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see how the C8 Corvette stacks up. All right, guys, we're inside this Rapid Blue 2022 C8 Corvette. I tell you, it is crazy how each generation of the Chevrolet Corvette really has upped the game, not only in performance, but definitely in the interior. And this interior is the best out of them all. Now, I know you're saying, well, Joe, how much is this Chevrolet Corvette? Well, the way that this one is optioned, you're looking at an MSRP of around $98,000. Yes, comparing it to a McLaren, that's still a bargain because a McLaren 570S is going to cost around at least $202,000. But let's see what you get for the money going the Chevrolet Corvette route. To the door panels, I love how this one is optioned with the dark material, the tan contrast stitching, and then the tan leather with the carbon fiber package. That carbon fiber around the switchgear really just adds that little extra something that makes you feel good at night when you're daydreaming and just dreaming overall about your Corvette. You do have a large pocket there for easily 7 or 8 Twinkies. And then going from the door panel to the dash, more of that beautiful stitching. Remember, you can option the stitching a different color, the tan material different color. I like the aluminum finish. Where the zonk is are these tabs. The plastic feel on them just overall does not fit well with everything else. The big discussion has been the divider between the passenger and the driver. You got an 8-inch infotainment system. Not as nicely integrated as on the McLaren, but it is a pretty good size. Obviously, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have all of your controls for your transmission, that 8-speed DCT, easy to get to, more carbon fiber, and then more of that beautiful tan. Open the 2 cup holders, and you have your Corvette key fob, remote start, all the buttons on the back. You have all your switch gear for the dual climate, heated seats, ventilated seats, and you got your center console lid with USB-C, USB-A, and an aux jack. Sorry you can't see it. There's actually a little model of a McLaren in here that Chevrolet put because they know that they can beat the McLaren. So just something to think about. It's inside there. You got wireless charging. Beautiful Corvette Stingray badge right there with your center speaker. And then you have these seats. Leather with the Alcantara, carbon fiber, so they're the upgraded seats. Wonderful bolstering. Holds you like a mother holds a newborn baby. And for an extra 5 horsepower, we got the matching tan seat belts. Plus, this one is optioned with the microfiber suede material all over the inside, including the A-pillars. So that's where that level of fit, feel, and finish is just out of control. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind this D-shaped steering wheel in the C8 Corvette. All right, guys, business time. Behind the wheel, you got this beautiful sill plate with the Stingray name, aluminum sill plate. Very easy to get in and out of the C8 Corvette for being the type of car that it is. Easier than the Mclaren. And then when you talk about pedal box, one heck of a pedal box. Nice large dead pedal with aluminum finish, brake pedal and throttle. Love hitting that throttle. Naturally aspirated V8 sound. You got your seat controls, so you can easily adjust how the seat is perfect for your body. I'm 6 feet tall and there's still some room in here. So if you're on the taller side, this might be that supercar, sports car, perfect for you. We do have, like I said, that stitching is great. We got our mode selector knob underneath this leather cover and more carbon fiber. And then of course the D-shaped steering wheel, tan leather, top dead center, Alcantara all the way around with this beautiful stitching. Even on the horn button, we got massive metal paddles behind the wheel to go up and down the 8-speed DCT. And then my favorite thing is this button right here. Hit it, that's the Z button. Z for Zora. Zora Duntub, the true father of the Corvette. You do that and everything goes into full performance mode, steering, suspension, all that good stuff. And then that 12-inch digital display is phenomenal. Love the graphics, love the fonts, all the information you need, nothing you don't, and you got a head-up display. And then now it's that time that we're gonna drop the top, but let us go ahead and reset, and we're gonna put this top down to show you all the action before we go on throttle. All right, guys, time to put the top down. Easy peasy, very simple to do. You push down on the button, which is on the actual door panel for the driver's side, and that really light top just folds back. Remember, the C8 Corvette is the first Corvette to actually have a folding hardtop, and now you're ready to rock and roll. But before we fire up our guitar and drum set and do some rocking and rolling, we need to show the cargo space in here and compare it to the mighty Mclaren. All right, guys, one of the areas where the Corvette really beats the Mclaren is gonna be in cargo space. And check it out, you hit the button, even on the convertible, you got 12.6 cubic feet of space. And yes, the stories are true. Chevrolet wanted to make sure you could put your golf bag in this rear compartment so you could hit the 18 holes or wherever you're gonna go to go do your Happy Gilmore impressions. But you know what? It's not just about the back. There's actually storage up front. Let's go check that out and see what else is in store on the C8 Corvette. All right, guys, time to get into that extra cargo space that the engineers over at Chevrolet were able to figure out. You just hit that button, and what's gonna happen is you just lift it up. Plenty of room. You could easily put, I would say, 4 boxes of brand new New Balance sneakers and some of those long tube socks, those white long socks that you could wear at your car shows when you're bringing your C8 Corvette out there. But you know what? For us here on Raiti's Rides, it's not about how high we pull up our socks. It's about how hard we push on the throttle. Let's go on throttle in this C8 Stingray. All right, guys, we're inside this rapid blue Chevrolet Corvette, the C8, 3LT on the fixings and Z51 performance package, trying to compare it to that McLaren 570S. Remember, the McLaren 570S has a 3.8 liter twin turbo V8, puts out about 562 horsepower, made it to a 7-speed DCT. So we're a little down on horsepower, but we're gonna see how that performance factor goes. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle! Smoke them if you got them. Brakes feel good. Fast shifts from that Tremec on the brakes. Here we go, on throttle. this real quick. If we're comparing this to the 570, you're definitely getting more linear, grunnier power delivery. With that naturally aspirated V8 doing its thing, very linear torque delivery when it comes to the way that the torque is delivered. The DCT from Tremec shifts just as fast as the DCT in the McLaren 570. I think what I would like to have in this car is just a little bit more rumble. The C7 was definitely louder than the C8, whether you're going coupe or convertible with the C8. Interior, it's crazy. The C8 feels more luxurious. That's for sure. Now, the McLaren feels a little bit more race car-esque. It's more minimalistic, which I like, especially when it comes to the steering wheel in the McLaren 570. And when it comes to buttons and all these screens and stuff, it's definitely much less intense than what is in this C8 Corvette. When it comes to rigidity, obviously the McLaren 570S has that carbon fiber tub, but still this C8 Corvette does the business with being able to have a quick turn in once you go into that corner entry, and it holds a line really, really well. Obviously, moving the engine to the middle was a no-brainer when it comes to you're going to get more performance than a C7 Corvette. But I think there might be that something extra that the McLaren 570 has when it comes to overall power and suspension and the brakes, of course. Very surprising that on the Z51 equipped C8 that the brake rotors are a little bit more than 13 inches in diameter, whereas the McLaren, they're well over 15 inches. Plus, like I said, you have that option of the carbon ceramic brake rotor package. Now, with the C8, I don't feel like I'm sitting as much in it as I am in the McLaren 570, but still visibility is really great. Even with the top up, the quality is definitely there. But let's do another on throttle here. Let's do this one from a roll first gear. On throttle, here we go. Ah! Hits hard. That sound. Yeah. Here we go. Good feedback from the front end. That magnetic ride suspension doing the business. It's crazy though, because overall braking is still very, very efficient, very effective. Like I said, I think where you're gonna have the difference is gonna be at the track. If you're doing a track day, or if you happen to live maybe on near Angel's Crest Highway, you have access to crazy, awesome, twisty roads like that. But I don't know about you, this is a convertible, and we need to definitely drop the top. So give me one split second, and then we're gonna go back on throttle, open air style. All right, guys, we got the top down. We're ready to rock and roll, open air style. You ready? I'm ready. On throttle, yeah! Smoke 'em if you got 'em. This section right here. Yeah! I tell you, overall, it really has a great balance. I would like a little bit more communication from the rear. I kind of am a little unsure just how much grip I have there. I mean, I know I'm planted, but I don't know. There's just something about it, especially compared to the McLaren 570S, where I feel like the McLaren 570S, it has to come down to the wider wheels and tires, but still getting a great balance. And I think that if you know what you're doing, you're going to be able to obviously really enjoy going through the twisty bits in this car. The fit and finish is really been raised to a new level and definitely feels like a supercar. I guess the big question is, do you need the Mclaren name badge for that extra money and that unique way of delivering the supercar power? One thing to also remember is we're getting to the point where if you like exclusivity, no longer can you just show up to your Cars and Coffee event and maybe be the only C8 Corvette there. There's now, last Cars and Coffee event I went to, there was about 15 of them. So that's another thing. If you really want that exclusivity, you might have to pay the extra to get it. But the bottom line is, for the price, you can't go wrong with this Corvette. I'd be lying to you if I said that it was not enough performance for the money. It's more performance than what you're paying compared to many other cars. But like I said, you know, there's that exclusivity factor, which some people take very seriously. All right, guys, one more time for you. Definitely one more time for me. On throttle, yeah! Woo! Here we go. The bottom line is, that's what it does to you. It has such an amazing driving experience. I do still wish you could get a manual. I know that it won't be as fast. I know you can't get the McLaren in a manual, but it would be really nice to be able to get this in a manual. But that's not what this discussion is about. This discussion is about, do you get this over the McLaren? I tell you, you really got to have the money to go that McLaren route, because you're getting everything. And this really is, I really believe that Chevrolet has elevated the Corvette from sports car to definitely supercar. But we're gonna get back to where this all started and wrap it up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those on throttle kinds of days you don't wanna ever miss. And this has been extra special. I gotta thank everybody at Chevrolet for allowing Raiti's Rides access to this C8 press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Has Chevrolet just hit that sweet spot with performance, with price, with style, with fit and finish to really put it in that supercar territory and stop you from spending more with going with a brand like McLaren and the 570S or any of those other exotics? Put it in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's working it like a champ no matter where the sun is in the sky, as we are here on planet Earth going around the universe. So thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.